Hi guys, this is Miss Wagner. I am going to teach you a little bit of racers today. So a lot of you have heard about racers and kind of how it works, and I'm going to show you kind of what I've been using with my class for their homework. So this is E.W. Griffith Elementary School's second grade racers writing practice. So what RACER stands for is R, restate the question, A, answer the question, C, cite your evidence, E, extend, elaborate, or explain, R, revise your writing, and S, sum it up. I know that is a lot of information to take all at once, so I'm going to break it up into chunks. So the first part that I'm going to talk about right now is restating the question. So when you restate the question, you restate a question without actually answering the question. I know that sounds a little weird. So this is our racers question that we're going to work with. What are things alike and different between pens and pencils? With racers, you are comparing and contrasting two things. So the way that I restate it is there are many things alike and different between pens and pencils. I did not answer the question in my restate. I just wrote that there are a lot of things that are different between pens and pencils, but we're trying to restate the question so then if we didn't even have the question, we have an idea of what the question is going to be. So if I read the sentence, there are many things alike and different between pens and pencils, I can kind of get an idea that the question is, what are things alike and different between pens and pencils? Now, I also have this in Spanish right here, and I will be adding this to the video as well. It's all in Spanish, what RACERS stands for, and I also have the writing that is in Spanish as well right here. I have the racers here. Obviously, it was translated by Google. Just to know if there's any mistakes, I'm sorry. So we're also going to look at the A. These are the two sections that I want us to focus on today. So R is restate the question, and A is simply answering the question. So answer the question. Make sure you state things that are the same and different. Try to have at least two examples of both. So we don't just want one example. We want two examples. That adds a little bit more details and gives us more information of what we want. So for my answer right here, I have one thing that is the same between pens and pencils is they both are writing materials. Another thing that is the same between pens and pencils is you can use them on paper. This is things that are the same. Okay, so I don't need to necessarily restate and say pens and pencils are this, pens and pencils are that, pens and pencils are this. Instead, I'm just saying, hey, this is what they have in common. Now, I'm going to skip the cite your evidence for now. We'll get to that part later. We're going to go on to the second answer. One thing that is different between pens and pencils is pens use ink and pencils use lead. I'd like to draw attention to this part where it says pens use ink and pencils use lead. We want to be very specific when we're giving our answers. We don't want to just say one thing that's different between pens and pencils is they write differently. Because then as the teacher, I'm going to say, what do you mean they write differently? Give me an example. Tell me more. So we want to be very specific and say pens use ink and pencils use lead. Another thing that is different between pens and pencils is pens can be colorful, but writing pencils cannot. So when I did this prompt with my kids, I made a mistake, and at first I said that pencils cannot be colorful, but then somebody reminded me that you have coloring pencils that you can use. But we have writing pencils is what I had to say, so I was more specific. This is just a little bit of how to restate an answer. You can look at this paper. I will post it for you to look at, but I will teach you how to do the next section in another video.